Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Prime Book Selling Podcast. I'm Eric, and we're back with the second episode, and as promised, we're going to talk about what some people might see as why would you have an episode about FBA? Because everybody should know what FBA is, but we're doing this because I think a lot of people out there that are just beginning on this journey think of FBA as being just Amazon selling, and if you're one of those people, you are very wrong. FBA is a special program within Amazon, and you are not knowledgeable about the rest of the programs within Amazon. You are basically cutting yourself out from half of Amazon book selling. To break this down in the simplest form, what is FBA? FBA is when you sell products via the Amazon platform that there's basically two methods to selling products on Amazon. Products that you ship out yourself, and products that you ship to Amazon, and Amazon does the fulfillment to the customer when the item sells. FBA would fall under that side of where you're shipping it to Amazon. So there is a very big difference. Now, when you research any sort of Amazon selling, everybody is going to tell you all you want to do is FBA. You don't even want to pay attention to the other the option of shipping out by yourself, which to an extent I agree with, but they both have advantages and disadvantages, and that's what I want to address mainly in this episode. What are the advantages of FBA? Well, number one is FBA obviously makes your business simpler, because you find profitable inventory to sell, you ship it into Amazon, and you're done. After that, Amazon pretty much takes over every step of the way. All you really have to do is wait for the money to come in. On the vice versa, if you use the other method of shipping where you have to ship the item out, you have to have whole infrastructure built in the background to, okay, the order comes in, Amazon's going to give you a certain period of time to ship that item out. You have to meet that deadline, get that item shipped out, get tracking to Amazon, or they're going to penalize you for not shipping it out on time. So you can see that basically half the fulfillment process is completely removed by using FBA, which is a huge advantage. And in the situation where the shipping carrier screws up, something gets lost, something gets damaged onto the way of the customer, in most instances, you're going to eat the money on the item for the most part. You may get a little bit of a reimbursement from Amazon, but Amazon, if the customer happens to leave like a negative feedback or something like that, Amazon is going to accept the responsibility in most situations for that negative feedback. You'll go on and you'll look at your profile and it'll say the negative feedback, but then it'll be struck through by Amazon, and Amazon will say, this item was sold via Amazon FBA. We accept responsibility for the shipping issues with this item. So that's another perk. The biggest perk is what is known as the Prime Badge. And if you're a longtime shopper on Amazon, you're probably very familiar with this. Certain items that you buy on Amazon carry a Prime Badge, and other items do not. And basically what the Prime Badge is you automatically get the Prime Badge when you're shipping it into FBA. That means you're basically tied into Amazon's logistical network, and it's kind of a badge of honor that the item is going to get shipped timely and get to you in a reasonable amount of time. For the longest period of time, it was always 2 days, but ever since COVID happened, that's kind of gone away, and a lot of people aren't getting it in 2 days, but it's still much more timely than a lot of other delivery carriers. And the reason why that's a significant advantage is because, especially in the media space, it seems like there's a gap between a merchant fulfilled seller, somebody that does not carry that Prime Badge, will sell the book at one price, and a person that's carrying that Prime Badge can sell that book at a significantly higher price and still get a sale over the other seller because it carries that Prime Badge. Basically, if you want an explanation for that, the explanation I would give is that there are a ton of people on Amazon that are Amazon Prime members, and they will typically, not all Prime members, but a lot of Prime members will only buy items that carry the Prime tag for whatever reason. The other significant issue, which we'll cover this in a later episode, is that a lot of the sales get driven through on Amazon through the buy box. And as of today, you have a significantly higher chance of winning that buy box by being an FBA seller than you do by being a non-FBA seller. Basically, because you're going to be in the buy box on your items more often, you're going to get more sales. So basically what we're looking at is with the FBA program, you can typically sell an item at a higher cost, at a higher price to the customer, and you will actually sell the items faster in many instances because of that Prime badge. So those are significant advantages over being a merchant fulfilled seller, which is the non-Prime seller, not Prime badge seller. So with that said, it obviously seems like, well, I'm going to sell everything FBA. I mean, why would I ever do anything different? Well, that's where the downsides of FBA come into play. And this is if you know somebody who is not an Amazon bookseller but sells in some other fashion on Amazon, these downsides are not nearly as, other categories are not nearly as affected today by these restrictions as booksellers are. And the reason for this is because with the success of the Amazon FBA program, all these people sending items into their warehouses become overwhelmed. And their staff cannot get items checked in fast enough. They're just working around the clock and never catching up with everything that people are sending in. So because of that, Amazon has taken a strong look at, okay, we want to create our warehouses and optimize them so that the most profitable, fastest moving items are coming into the warehouse and going right back out. So as soon as one item comes in, there's another item being sold and going out. With books, the whole nature of books is it's a very, very long tail business. What that means is most of the profitable books that you're going to sell, they're not an in and out type product. They're what is known as a long tail product. And if you're curious about learning about long tail products, there's a great book called The Long Tail that you can read, and it talks about different businesses that use long tail have a long tail business model. But essentially what that is that you find a profitable book, you send it into Amazon, and it's going to sit there. It might sit there for 30, 60, 90, 180 days before that one buyer that wants that book is going to come along and scoop that book up. And because it's such a niche and such a long tail products typically demand a much larger price than a non-long tail product, but it just happens to take a longer time for them to sell because there's just not as many people looking for it. So basically, think of it as you have a widget, and that widget, you buy it for $2. Well, now if you're in a non-long tail product, you'll sell that $2 product for $7, and you'll make $5 on it, but you're going to sell 100 of them in a month. A long tail product is more like you buy that product for $2. You might sell it for $20, but a seller's only going to come along once, maybe once a month, maybe once every other month to buy that product. So basically what that means is that as a bookseller, you want to be holding inventory. You have to hold inventory, and you have to build up a bank of books to be able to start generating the sales you need to build a reliable business. Well, with the FBA program, Amazon hates that because they don't want that stuff sitting in their warehouse. They want it to come in and they want it to go right back out. So they have, and we'll cover these two things in more detail in further episodes, but they have what's called a restock limit and an IPI score. Now, the restock limit, both of these things are going to change slightly come in the next few months. So we'll probably have a completely different episode that's going to talk about the new system that they're using. But as of today, they have these two things. IPI score, that measures how much stuff you can send into their warehouse.